So it looks like the Knicks' #1 rival, the Daily News, had tracked down Cam Reddish to get a few quotes for him about his time being on the Knicks. And of course, make no mistake about it, the way a lot of this article was framed, it made it seem like the Knicks wasted 2 first-round picks, 1 to acquire Cam Reddish and 2 to get rid of him. But let's keep in mind that the Daily News does have an ongoing beef with James Dolan for revoking media passes for a lot of the members of their newspaper organization. Overall, jumping right back to Killer Cam right here. He only played for us for 35 games. And unfortunately for him, it's been a struggle to see some consistency. And outside of him scoring, which is pretty much what we did not really need from him, he had no other intangibles. Coming from Atlanta, he was always a poor rebounder, and defensively, he's always been inconsistent. And pretty much his role on this team, he could not pivot outside of his offensive scoring to show those intangibles. Now, if you look at his game log ever since he went to Portland, this guy pretty much went to a team in which, #1, they struggled to recruit free agents, and #2, they give up a lot of points. They basically play, I'm going to outscore you and try to win the game off of that, in which it leads to a lot of heroic moments for Damian Lillard. But once again, like I said, this is a team that's pretty much tanking, trying to rebuild, and also they're just pretty much going to try to outscore teams. Like I said before, they're ranked almost dead last in the league in defense. Matter of fact, they're ranked 27th in defense, and offensively they're ranked 7th. So it's pretty much a high scoring team. They average about 114 points a game, and on defense they give up about 118 points a game. And in Cam's first 13 games with the Portland Trailblazers, they're actually 4-9. And once again, defensively, they're not asking much from Cam, just like how they wasn't asking much from CJ McCollum when he was there. And for those of you watching the video version, as you can see Cam's game log, he's getting a lot of minutes on his team. He's almost averaging about 30 minutes a game, and he's always seemed to be in the negative. Now, even though his scoring is pretty efficient, there's some nights he's shooting about 50%, but he's also giving up a lot of points on the defensive end, and also his intangibles like rebounding are really pretty low. I mean, just look at his rebounding: 4, 2, 6, 6, 5, 3, 3, 2. This is not a good sign because in the Western Conference, the game speed is a lot higher. So there's a lot more possessions, a lot more rebounding, and his rebounding stats are still pretty low, especially for someone of his size. Now, keep in mind, he did play against OKC once again. And those of you who don't remember when OKC came to the Garden, that's the game that Shea was just going off. And Shea actually put up another 44 points going up against Cam and the Blazers on 81% shooting, which is crazy. 44 points on 81% shooting. I mean, that's almost stats of like a dominant center. 81% shooting, that's just crazy. But let's take a look at some of the stuff that Cam had said. Quote, "It was tough, but at the same time, it wasn't even about basketball." Reddish told the Daily News, "It had nothing to do with basketball. It was all about politics, all the favoritism, shit like that. That's why I wasn't too worried about it." Now, he didn't further elaborate on what he meant. It seems like they were trying to get more information out of him. The ironic thing is that he said that him and Thibs barely spoke his whole time there, which is ironic in itself because, you know, usually, hey, you want to have that relationship with the coach to make sure that you're getting playing time and that you two have the same understanding. So we already know what Thibs is all about, you know, the hustle. And a scoring guy like Cam Reddish, he kind of has those attributes of like a Carmelo Anthony, where it's just like they can't wait to put in more effort on the offensive end versus the defensive end. And Cam's an East Coast guy. He's a Philly guy. We already know how sometimes, you know, the arrogance that comes with, you know, being on the East Coast. A lot of our guys kind of have that swagger about them. From Melo to Iverson to others that came out of the East Coast, there's always kind of a flair about these guys. And Cam definitely exudes that. But unfortunately, he's going to have to put in a lot of work on his intangibles. And continuing on from the article, even Dame gave quotes on Cam Reddish. Quote, "They put a reputation on you when you get traded twice like Reddish. What's wrong? Why is he going from team to team without getting an opportunity?" Damian Lillard said, quote, "You just don't know what goes on behind closed doors until you become attached to the situation, and it's your job to encourage him speak life into him, things change. And when you start to see who they really are. All right. So, I mean, Dame, giving him some backup. But once again, Dame, is the same guy that kind of went after Melo after, pretty much his heydays was over. Melo, if you guys don't remember, when he was a free agent for the Knicks and he was going on that little tour, acting like he was going to leave the team, he had an opportunity to go to Portland, but Melo never chose them because, once again, Dame and CJ, they're not a free agent destination. So whenever they could get guys on the back end, they'll take it because that's better than most opportunities that team gets. Remember, they lost, what's his name? LaMarcus Aldridge to the Spurs because even he didn't want to stay over there. And they continue on getting more quotes from Reddish. Quote, "I'm in a completely different place now. Now I'm blessed. Not everybody gets another opportunity, so it's refreshing," said Reddish, the 10th overall pick in 2019. "I got some great teammates, great staff. It's real positive around here. Win, lose, or draw. It's not somebody beating you over the head. Not that was happening in New York, but it's more like my style." Yeah, it's more like your style. Run and gun, play no defense. Once again, the Blazers are the number 27th in team defensive efficiency, giving up points. They average 118 points per game. And offensively, they score about 114 points per game. So Blazers are the bottom, the bottom of the bottom in the league in defense. And continue on from Cam, quote, "I can shoot a shot and I'm in New York and I feel like I had to make it." Reddish said, "Yeah, you feel like you had to make it because you brought nothing else to the table." As you see with Josh Hart, he creates a lot of opportunities for other guys. He doesn't even have to shoot that much. He creates opportunities and transitions as he pushes the pace. He rebounds well. He has very good defensive intangibles. He knows where to be. He brings a lot of shit to the table that we as New Yorkers, we love to see in our players, that hustle mentality. Because most of the scoring for the Knicks is going to be through RJ, Randall, and Brunson. So clearly Cam just, he wasn't getting the memo. Like, we didn't really need you to score. We just kind of need you to make other things happen. Some games we might need you to score. Most other games we really didn't. And so him talking about he had to make a shot. He also said that he thought that he wasn't the only person that felt like that. Quote, "I was getting too much pressure on myself. Now I can relax and play my game. You're going to see it. The more I'm on the court, the more I'm going to grow and play, and I'm happy." And of course, the Daily News article continues on to make it look like the Knicks traded away Reddish and wasted 2 first-round picks. But we did, in order to acquire Reddish, we did trade the Hornets 2023 first-round pick that we got. And that pick is top 16 protected. So the Hornets are good as long as they fall in the top 16. And then when we traded Cam, I believe we traded our own 2023 pick. But I believe it is top 16 protected also. And if it doesn't convert, it becomes 4 second-round picks for the Portland Trailblazers. So we really didn't give up that much. And it looks like there was more from Cam Reddish. Quote, "I knew that coming in. I knew that there wasn't really a plan," Reddish said. "What am I going to do? Complain about it? No, I was going to make the most of it. I still became a starter at the end of the day. And I just tried to do what I could do with it and what I was given. And it didn't necessarily work out." What's the interesting part about that whole scenario? He did have a great opportunity in the start of this season to become a starter with Quentin Grimes going through his injuries. And remember, Quentin Grimes tried to come back and then he got re-injured and then there was no timetable for his return. And in that time span, Reddish didn't really show that he could separate from Grimes. Remember, Quentin Grimes, he doesn't have the resume that Cam Reddish did coming into the draft, and he's a younger player. So by the time Grimes came back in the lineup, you saw the major difference in the play between Grimes and Reddish. So Reddish had a head start of Grimes to start out and get the position. But at the end of the day, he let Grimes come back only from injury and still stand out better than he did. So that kind of says a lot. And continuing with the article, asked about rumors of a conflict with Thibodeau, Reddish said he didn't communicate enough with the coach to know if that there were problems. That's a red flag right there. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. You seen that you're not playing. You even getting Evan getting minutes ahead of you, and you're still not going to talk to the coach. It clearly was an issue. Like Reddish said earlier in the article, he didn't want to elaborate on certain things. "I never really talked to Thibs like that. I don't know," Reddish said. and I don't really care. I'm here in Portland now. I'm gonna try to put that in the past. Those were lower times in my career, so it's whatever. So there you have it. Yo, Reddish. I mean, this is kind of a funny situation. This whole thing, how it played out, but he's obviously keeping things in a tuck. He's probably gonna elaborate on further details. But at the end of the day, once again, the Daily News, they got beef with the Knicks. They kind of try to make it seem like we wasted 2 first-round picks in the whole Cam Reddish saga. But at the end of the day, he went to a team that scores over 100 points per game, 114 points exact. But defensively, they give up 118 points a game, which is ranked 27th in the NBA. But Cam is still only putting up about 13 points a game in that scenario while playing over 30 minutes a game. So you guys pretty much begin to get a clear picture and put 2 and 2 together. Something doesn't add up. You know, apparently he says that he's a scoring guy, but he only averages 13 points a game on a team that has no pressure to win, that's pretty much tanking, giving up offensive points and not playing defense. So that falls right into the Cam Reddish style. And so far in 13 games, his output is only 13 points a game. And it seems like the Blazers are kind of up and down about starting Reddish. It seems like sometimes they sub him in for Thibodeau and other players. It's kind of still a gray area. It doesn't look like his starting job is even solidified. Not quite yet, but I still give him time. It's still early. Probably getting acclimated in this team. Pretty much, he's getting acclimated to a losing team. So there's not much of a culture that, or a game plan that team is really constructing right now. But it is what it is. I wish them the best of luck. But at the end of the day, the Knicks do have a better record with Josh Hart. And unlike the Portland Trailblazers, we're trying to make the playoffs. And we have a defensive identity more than we do an offensive identity. So it kind of seems like it worked out for both teams. So it is what it is. Till next time, you fellas stay safe. Peace.